Voters do not agree with these despicable women on The View. They are wildly out of touch with the vast majority of Americans, and frankly, they should seek immediate help.
This wasn't just another heated political debate. This was The View completely spiraling out of control. The hosts, known for their fiery takes and relentless questioning, found themselves on the defensive when Karoline Leavitt, the youngest White House press secretary in history, refused to back down. Instead of being intimidated, she turned the tables on them, firing back with sharp, unwavering responses that left them scrambling for control.
Ma'am, I'm going to stop this interview if you continue to attack my colleagues. I would like to talk about Joe Biden and Donald Trump, who you work for.
I am stating facts that your colleagues have stated in the past.
Okay,
now,
I'm sorry, guys. We're going to come back out to the panel. Caroline, thank you very much for your time.
But this wasn't just about a debate. It was a full-blown exposure of mainstream media hypocrisy, sending shockwaves across the internet. The moment was explosive, and the aftermath was even bigger. Did Joy Behar seriously suggest that Leavitt's success was purely based on her looks? Was this really happening on live television? The implications of her remark were staggering, making viewers question the true motives behind the media's narratives.
I think she's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10.
Did The View just expose its own double standards in real time? And more importantly, is legacy media losing its grip on controlling the national conversation? Buckle up, because this is about more than just one heated exchange. This is about a media empire under siege. Karoline Leavitt made history as the youngest White House press secretary, a role that requires intelligence, quick thinking, and the ability to withstand relentless media scrutiny. But from the moment she stepped into the spotlight, mainstream outlets didn't just question her policies, they questioned whether she even deserved to be there at all. The narrative was clear. Her qualifications were secondary to the agenda they wanted to push.
Democrats and the media are now unloading all their nasty attacks on rising Trump White House star and new press secretary, Karoline Leavitt.
Instead of acknowledging her historic achievement, left-leaning networks and commentators immediately attacked her credibility. Was she too young? Too inexperienced? A mere token hire? These were the questions dominating headlines, all before she even had the chance to prove herself. But nothing compared to what happened when she appeared on The View. The moment she took her seat, the tension was thick in the air. The panel wasted no time in launching their signature aggressive questioning, but then Joy Behar dropped a comment that sent shockwaves through the discussion. In her usual blunt style, Behar implied that Leavitt had only secured her position due to her looks, insinuating that she was chosen for optics rather than merit. The irony was deafening. The View had spent years branding itself as a champion of women's empowerment, yet in one instant, Behar dismissed a young, accomplished woman, not because of her policies, not because of her political stance, but solely based on her appearance. Karoline didn't flinch. She fired back with poise, directly calling out the hypocrisy in real time.
You know, we have seen cultural Marxism trickling its way through every institution in this country. The public school system, the higher education university system, Hollywood, big tech, the corrupt mainstream media that I fought against in President Trump's White House are indoctrinating my generation of Americans into hating our country, hating one another based on race and gender and all of this other BS, quite frankly. It's not radical to want to put your country and your own people first. It's not radical to want to have a strong border, a strong military, and to unleash the might of your own economy, not economies around the world.
If a conservative man had made such a statement about a liberal woman, the outrage would have been deafening. But in this moment, the audience was expected to simply nod along. The studio fell into an awkward silence. The hosts weren't prepared for this level of pushback, and they certainly weren't ready for what was coming next. Sensing that the conversation was spiraling out of control, Whoopi Goldberg jumped in, attempting to pivot the discussion. She tried to frame Leavitt's appointment as yet another example of wokeness in politics, implying that conservatives were just as guilty of tokenizing people for diversity optics.
Said something yesterday that really pissed me off. And that was, she said, there will be no wokeness here.
Oh, yeah.
Let me explain something to you. Without that wokeness, you might not have that job.
Yeah.
Because women were not invited to that table.
But Caroline wasn't going to let that slide. Calmly yet firmly, she corrected Whoopi, stating that wokeness isn't about true inclusivity. It's about enforcing ideological conformity. The the conversation had now taken an even more critical turn, exposing the glaring contradictions in the media's messaging.
How ironic that Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar and the rest of the ladies on The View spend their time calling Republicans the conspiracy theorists, but they have been wrong about everything they have said over the last couple of years.
Real diversity, she argued, comes from allowing different viewpoints to be heard, not silencing those who challenge the mainstream narrative. This wasn't just a debate. It was a direct confrontation of the way The View operates. Instead of fostering open discussions, many critics believe the show has become an echo chamber, shutting down any dissenting opinions. And in this moment, Caroline had exposed that reality live on air. This wasn't just a one-off awkward exchange. It was a textbook example of how conservative women are treated differently in the media. Compare Caroline Leavitt's treatment to someone like Karine Jean-Pierre, the White House press secretary under Biden. While Jean-Pierre has faced criticism, media outlets have largely celebrated her historic appointment, praising her identity as a milestone for progress. But when a young conservative woman rises to prominence, suddenly, identity and diversity take a back seat, replaced by skepticism and relentless scrutiny.
Get on board, or they can prepare to lose another election just like they did on November 5th. These women are completely out of touch with reality, and you're right, ABC should wait.
The message is loud and clear. If you don't align with the correct political ideology, your success isn't celebrated, it's questioned. And millions of viewers noticed this double standard in real time. As soon as the episode aired, social media exploded. Clips of the exchange went viral, igniting a fierce debate over mainstream media bias. Conservatives praised Caroline for holding her ground, refusing to be steamrolled by the host's usual tactics. Even some liberals admitted that Behar's comment was out of line, with a few even calling for her to apologize. But Caroline wasn't done. Instead of letting the moment fade, she used it to make a larger point about the state of American media. In a follow-up statement, she didn't just call out The View, she called out the entire industry. She accused mainstream media outlets of systematically discrediting conservative voices while protecting their own. She even hinted at new press policies under the Trump administration aimed at holding these outlets accountable for their bias and misinformation. Ensuring a more balanced media landscape isn't just a talking point, it's a movement. This isn't just about one debate or one episode of The View. It's about a seismic shift happening before our eyes. For years, legacy media outlets controlled the narrative. They decided which stories received attention, which voices were amplified, and which were silenced. But with the rise of independent media, alternative platforms, and social media influencers, that monopoly is crumbling. Caroline Leavitt's moment on The View wasn't just a personal win, it was a symbol of this shift. It proved that mainstream media can no longer silence dissenting voices without consequences. The real question now is, are we witnessing the downfall of legacy media's influence? If The View thought they could control this narrative, they were dead wrong. Instead of embarrassing Caroline Leavitt, they exposed their own hypocrisy. And instead of shutting down her voice, they amplified it. This is bigger than just one talk show. It's about the future of media, the credibility of journalism, and the power of the people to demand truth over propaganda. What do you think? Is mainstream media losing control? Is this the beginning of a major shift in how we consume news? Drop a comment below and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the biggest political media battles of our time.